Wave weather now. Hey, everybody, I'm Wave Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here on this post-Oaks evening here. It has been a wet Oaks day, to say the least. We picked up just shy of half an inch of rain here as of the climate report this afternoon. We'll likely add on to that as more of that data gets ingested there into the local climate data there. But, of course, congratulations to Torpedo Anna for winning the Big Oaks race today. And, boy, it was done under just the muddiest of conditions. We're talking about a sloppy track still out there at Churchill Downs. You're seeing a live look at it here. By the way, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hopefully not complaints, you can drop those in the comments on our live videos here on our social channels, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We can see them all right here, and I can put them up on the screen. If you're watching us on Wave Weather Now, which would be on the Wave Weather app or the Wave News app, if you get a push notification, tapped it, and you're in here now, you won't be able to see those comments, but I'll read them to you so you can hear them audibly. Okay, here is the latest that we've got in terms of the weather here. Of course, tomorrow is the big day, the Run for the Roses here in Louisville. This is like the Super Bowl here in the city, and the forecast tomorrow does look better than today, but it does not come without some caveats. Current temperatures around 70 here in Louisville. Let's pop up the radar. This has been the big talker today. It has been the rain here in Louisville and some of the lightning to our south. We did not get lightning close enough to Churchill Downs today to cause any problems. 2 thumbs up there. That was some good news. You know, they've got like this 8-mile radius and then 20-mile radius that they keep looking for strikes in. At one point, we were pretty close to that 20-mile radius, but we never got within the 8 miles, so that was fantastic. I do want to at least take you on a small radar tour at the moment here locally here. What I'm going to do is pause the radar from animating, take off the satellite, and go down to a few stronger storms that we've had moving through Adair County over the past hour or so. These have now moved eastbound toward Russell County, Casey County at this time, so those are not going to be a factor for us any longer. We've got a couple of features here. One would be kind of this linear line of showers and downpours that's moving toward the south and east at this time, and another are these downpours in southeastern Jefferson County near Mount Washington and Bullitt County there, moving toward the north and east. So we may see additional showers here over the next little bit. In fact, as we put it in motion, you can see how very slowly everything's moving, about 20, 30 mile per hour speeds on a lot of this here today. Rainfall totals have been impressive in some parts of wave country here. In fact, I'll plot those here. You'll notice on the MSD gauges locally in Louisville, we've had just about an inch, very close to it. A little closer to areas just west of the Bardstown Road interchange there with the Snyder. And, of course, we've had really, really close to an inch, 0.99 near the Jefferson Memorial Forest down that way in southwest Jefferson County. Areas a little closer to the track picked up about a half inch. Again, the official rainfall total will come in closer to midnight tonight as we will still see some ongoing rainfall. For it to be the wettest Oaks day ever, it'd have to be 1.4 inches. I don't think we'll get to that point, but this will be one of the wetter ones. This will be the 12th time on an Oaks day that we've seen more than half an inch of rain. That I could say with pretty good assurance at this point, given that climate data will come out a little bit later tonight. All of this being caused, by the way, kind of by a disturbance of the atmosphere that's moving toward the east. We will see another day tomorrow where we have to watch for shower and thunderstorm chances here, just as this cold front that you see moving in over us now kind of is diffuse over our area, just kind of sits on us and just doesn't become very strong of a boundary anymore. So as it kind of just sits there and languishes, it could trigger some isolated to scattered downpours tomorrow. A lot of those, though, will be east of I-65. So Churchill Downs itself may be somewhat immune from this. We'll see how it goes. You'll see Futurecast and some of the latest data here coming up in just a moment. I want to get to a few of your comments before we get too far into this here. Let's see here. Michael says, looks like the horses are going to be running on the mud. At this point, I think they'll have some time to dry out overnight tonight. I don't think during the Derby race tomorrow the track will be sloppy unless it rains. Now, if we don't get a downpour to move over Churchill Downs at any point tomorrow, which is possible, I think the track condition would improve. They've got some fantastic technology there at Churchill Downs to get the track drainage to be as efficient as it can be here. So fingers crossed that will improve from sloppy. It was sloppy all day today. And I know there were a lot of folks who were saying that just the sound the horses were making as the hooves were hitting that thick sloppy mud. Just sounded like thunder. It was crazy. Ashley Nicole is in here. Do we need to worry about Monday or the couple following days? I think Monday is fairly benign at this point. We won't have the wind support for severe weather quite yet, even though we'll have a little strong storm chance there. We'll go over more of that severe weather potential for next week in just a moment there, Ashley. So hang on. This is going to be kind of a fast update. I want to be done by 8 p.m. here tonight. Get you out the door to your Oaks Eve festivities. Or Oaks Derby Eve festivities, I should say, on Oaks night. It's a big night here in Louisville. Margaret says, I'm more worried about getting my garden out amid all the rain than the conditions at the track. Yeah, we know that not everybody is a horse person. Not everybody is interested in the Derby. So we're going to go over more just generic general weather stuff here for the Louisville area and southern Indiana pretty shortly. I know that for some of us who may not care so much, that can be a lot. But hey, after tomorrow, Derby season is over and we enter into kind of our late spring, early summer time frame here. Judith says, good evening, Ryan. With all the rain this weekend, talk of bad weather next week. How bad will it be? I'm in Washington County, Kentucky. Yes, there could be some bad weather next week. We'll talk about it. Nothing is set in stone yet, though. These are just chances. A lot can change between now and then. Cameron says, GFS seems to be doing different pushes for next week's setup. Still think these are something to watch. Yes, the timing on trying to get these separate kind of waves of energy through here next week with the rounds of storms has been really tough on the models. The latest GFS run, which is the 18Z, I just saw it. It's basically saying, Thursday, maybe, some trouble, but not as much as before, but definitely Tuesday and Wednesday. So Thursday is kind of the flex day there. If the last disturbance pushes through quick enough, Thursday would be kind of out and Friday would surely be out. But if it's a little slower like the Euro was, then Thursday would be in the mix potentially for some stronger storms there. Let's see. Ronaldo is asking, is there severe weather threat on Tuesday and Wednesday? There is some potential for stronger storms. Some of those could be severe. It is just not set in stone just yet on exactly how that's going to unfold. Kevin Anderson, do the storms next week look like it could be an outbreak? We don't know yet. It's way too far out for that. So I'll tell you that with some certainty right now, the certainty that it is uncertain, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Angela says, that's a very busy map with all the H's and L's on it. Yes, it is. This comes from the Weather Prediction Center, and it just kind of shows you what is going on right now, the current surface map, if you will. And finally, this will be our last comment until we move on here. Good evening from Jeffersonville, from Shonda. Do you have any big plans tonight, Ryan? No, because I'm doing the 11 o'clock news. So I'll go home, eat some dinner, come back here, and you'll see me on Wave News at 11. I always like the pre-Derby 11 o'clock news. You can just kind of feel the excitement in the air. You will have had the galas, of course, still kind of ongoing. We'll have that gala special tonight. I believe that starts on Wave at 9 p.m., so 9 through 11 p.m., 2-hour gala special here. Ashley Nicole says, weather people on TikTok keep mentioning tornado outbreak and my anxiety is off. Please unfollow the weather people on TikTok who are saying there are going to be tornado outbreaks a week in advance. All right. That is sensationalism. We just don't know yet. Yes, there's a lot of data pointing towards severe weather, but it is irresponsible to give you that much certainty and to really amp you up like that nearly a week in advance. So please don't let the TikTok weather people, unless they work for a local TV station or a professional meteorologist, please don't let them get you into a tizzy about this. I know that's hard on a lot of us to see that information and go, oh my gosh, are we going to get it bad here? Let's go through this in a calm, organized fashion, shall we? This is a great segue into what we're about to talk about here. So we go through what's happening now to what's going to happen. So the severe weather risk on Saturday, that's tomorrow for Derby, well to our west, no concern to us here. Of course, they do have that severe weather risk a little closer to Midland, Odessa, Texas, where the plains have been just absolutely smacked by severe weather the last week or so. Our thoughts are with them. Another marginal risk, 1 out of 5 for severe weather Sunday, south and west of Louisville, does not involve us at all. In fact, I think Sunday may be pretty decent around here. I'm trending that drier. You'll see that in our forecast here. The first thing we got to deal with is a little fog tomorrow morning. The setup is such that we will have had a wet ground from the rain today, right? The winds are kind of calm. And as we go into tonight, that temperature will start to get close to that dew point and probably hit it. So we'll be 100% saturated. That will form some fog. I don't think this will be super, super thick or anything like that, but it certainly could be a bit widespread. So you wouldn't be shocked to see some fog early tomorrow morning when you wake up. I know I got to get up super early and be at Churchill Downs early tomorrow for Derby Day here. So I may see some low visibility as well. So folks who are up early on Saturday, you may deal with that. Then we key in on the rain chances here. This graph looks a lot less daunting than the rain chance graph we had for today because, of course, it rained a pretty good amount today. Tomorrow, not so much. Tomorrow is more so of a kind of a dry start with the fog, followed by some afternoon pop-up scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially east of I-65. And you'll see that here on Futurecast. Notice by 6:30 in the morning, we're kind of in the fog setup still around here. But areas just east of I-65 getting in on some downpours already, a little closer to like Lexington, Dry Ridge, Kentucky, up that way. We advance it once more. And you'll see that by 10, 11 o'clock, we already get to a point where we're starting to see some of these downpours developing. But again, notice us here in Louisville, still kind of dry, still, maybe a shower possible through about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But by and large, most of this activity is over the I-75 corridor. And there's just a smaller, more isolated to scattered potential over the I-65 corridor and areas to our west. Let's advance it one more time. Not that bad, right? Again, widely scattered to isolated downpours by Derby race time, roughly around 7 p.m. I think that post time is technically 6:57 there. And then it would pretty much be out of our hair for the most part during the overnight hours, except for a small chance of showers and maybe a downpour moving in from the west as we've got a disturbance moving in from that direction, kind of another weak front moving in. But that will be moving through so late, well after probably 11 p.m., that there won't be enough instability to keep those showers alive. So this may come through mostly dry. We'll give it about a 20% chance for an isolated shower during that time. That's out of here Sunday morning. Look at Sunday's Futurecast here, mainly dry. I think that's going to be the rule of the day as we'll lose some of the moisture in the atmosphere as that front will have pushed through. So Sunday looks okay. All right, so this is probably what you came here for because I know this has a lot of folks amped up, and I want to diffuse that, okay, because this is not set in stone. Yes, we have an alert day for Wednesday. Yes, it may extend into Tuesday, possibly into Thursday as well. We're just kind of keeping Wednesday as that center point. Want to get a little closer to it, get some more certainty out of this setup before we start flagging alert days left and right here. But that one alert day is to just give you a heads up that, hey, this is looming in the distance here, but it's not something to panic about, all right? This is something that we want to give you the earliest alert on, but we don't want to, kind of get you to a point where you're really upset or, anxious about this. So what's going to happen is we've got this system out to our west. It's basically, I'm going to zoom this out just a little bit here. It's basically a big old trough of low pressure out to our west here, and it kind of looks something like this, okay? And because you have that trough out to the west, it is sending these little ripples of disturbances all the way through here Tuesday and Wednesday, possibly into Thursday as well. Each of those disturbances, because of the wind energy that's going to be nearby, I drew that poorly, but the wind energy, there we go, that's nearby here with the jet stream, because that's nearby, these disturbances will have some wind energy to tap into. They'll also have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere from the Gulf of Mexico streaming in from the south. So we'll have the moisture, we'll have the wind energy, and we'll have the disturbances to kick off thunderstorms, all right? So that's kind of why we're a little concerned about this. Let's zoom back in, shall we? So these multiple rounds of storms are moving through, and I know that it's just like green all over the place, green here, green everywhere. And that may be indeed how it is. There may be multiple rounds of storms here that move through that Tuesday to Thursday time frame, and it's going to be really hard to pick out those individual rounds right now because we're just so far away from the event. We're like half a week out, so it's still got some time to cook, still time for things to develop. I will say, when you have these multiple rounds of storms like this, it is not often that all of them are bad, because you get contamination from the previous round of storms going into the next one. So it's oftentimes where the first round of storms can be bad, and then the second one, not as much, because you'll have rain-cooled air around, depending on how quickly that second round tries to move through. And then a third round would have contamination from the second. So it's kind of like a train wreck, if you will. So I don't want anybody to think just because, and I'm going to show you some of this data here in a second that, is from the AI, CSU MLP stuff that we've been talking about this week, if you've been joining us here for severe weather threats. It's seeing kind of just the, hey, here's the setup, here's what it's done before, but it can't see the mesoscale and microscale interactions of what's going to happen next week yet. And that's going to play a big part into how this actually unfolds. I will say at this point, yes, we do have all severe weather hazards on the table because of the ingredients that are here. But again, not set in stone on the timing. The severity is not set in stone, and the number of rounds that we get that could be severe also not set in stone. There's a lot more ifs than certainties here. And I hope that makes you feel a little better, because I know, at least for me, when I was a kid, I was scared of thunderstorms. Knowing that, it wasn't guaranteed that we were going to see severe weather, that often helped me out a little bit. And I hope that helps you too, because this is not a done deal. All right. I hope that makes sense. By Thursday, though, I think by Thursday night. All right. So if we get another round of storms on Thursday, and those are, kind of widespread, possibly strong to severe, I think after Thursday, the way the data is trending right now, we would finally kind of have this front and all of this warm, moist air pushed off to the south and east. This cannot last forever, especially with how progressive this pattern has been and how progressive it could be this time of year. So by Thursday night into Friday, I think the severe risk would be done. All right. I'm going to take this full. This is that data I was just talking about. This is from Colorado State University. This is their machine learning program here. Machine learning equals AI. Yes, so basically AI is trying to make a severe weather forecast. It is not always perfect, but it is very good at determining things, even pretty far out. But we have seen it be inaccurate before because of the reasons I talked about, especially with a multi-day threat like this. It can be troublesome accuracy-wise. Okay, so Monday. See, we're right here. I'm going to try to draw on this. There we go. There's my drawing tool. There we are right there. That's just a general thunderstorm threat, maybe a few stronger storms. At most, a marginal risk of severe weather. All right. So Monday, not that huge of a deal. All right. So let's kind of clear that out of our mind. All right. Tuesday, this could be an issue. You do see the red right here. Now, this is not from the Storm Prediction Center. This is not a human severe weather outlook. This is basically just a generic broad brush, like, hey, if there were to be severe weather next week, maybe it'd be around here. This thing's going to dance around 100 times before it actually happens. It could dance to the west. It could dance to the south, the east. We are still far enough away here on Friday for a Tuesday severe weather threat for this to shift pretty significantly. But it is trying to hone in on areas just west of wave country with this red right here, possibly a little hatched area in southern Illinois. And if that were to be a Storm Prediction Center outlook, this would be kind of equivalent to an enhanced risk of severe weather, okay? Kind of a 3 out of 5 situation. Very similar deal here for Wednesday. But notice, again, the main risk here in that hatched area is just to our west, but a little bit of that does leak into our counties. That little black area, that hatched area means possibility of significant severe weather. Yes, the AI is saying that for Wednesday right now. Again, it is Friday. This is not a human severe weather outlook. I know I keep downplaying this, but it is really, really important that I do, because this is not the most solid meteorology thing ever here that I'm showing you. But a lot of folks are talking about it, and it does give you at least a rough idea. So I'm using it more as a tool for placement and communication, not so much for severity level yet, okay? So kind of ignore that for now. But yes, it would show that indeed an enhanced risk of 3 out of 5 could possibly be in the cards around here. And it does show some greater potential in northern Arkansas for even more significant severe weather. So keep in mind here, we've looked at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So far, all of the most significant severe weather has been just to our west on these AI-generated, artificial intelligence-generated outlooks. However, if this were to be a Storm Prediction Center outlook here for Wednesday, we would flag it as an alert day. And because that data is still hinting at that, and it's been at least kind of consistent on doing some of that, that's why we have the alert day out. We just want to give that earliest alert to you. By Thursday, notice it's a little less certain. It's trying to shift it into our area, but maybe just to our south. And that uncertainty is most likely because of some of the data trying to push this front through here, get this unstable air out of here sooner. And so it's kind of more diffuse. It's trying to figure out what to do. It's a little less certain, so it's not really pointing as much of a bullseye. And then by Friday, I think a lot of this will be out of here. Some of this AI data still trying to point toward like I-75 for some severe weather risk. Again, pretty nebulous 1 week out. The one thing that's certain in meteorology, this time of year and at this distance out in time is the uncertainty, okay? But I do want you all to know that there is at least the chance for some strong to severe storms next week. The days in question, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The alert days on Wednesday for now, just because that's the day that has the highest, I think, certainty, if there were to be a day, of having some potential severe weather around here based on the data we've seen from all the major global models and, of course, this AI data as well that's kind of painting what they're showing. But I just want you to remember that we are still going to be evolving this forecast here over the weekend. So keep checking back. Carson's in Saturday night and all day on Sunday. We'll be back here, of course, on Monday morning as well with Tawana. We're going to be changing and updating the forecast as necessary as that data comes into clearer focus. We'll have a pretty decent idea, I think, about the front end of this, certainly by Saturday night and Sunday night. And we'll really be drilling in on it probably by the end of the weekend and the start of the next work week, just to make sure that everybody is oriented with the timing of this. So this is still kind of clear as mud, but there is at least that indication. Okay, that's enough of the severe weather, kind of bad news sermon here, if you will. I am going to get to a couple of your questions here. I do want to wrap this up in the next 2 to 3 minutes here. Let's see here if there's going to be any questions or concerns from you guys here in the comments. Comments are spicy tonight. Goodness gracious, guys. Let's see. Judith says she's doing yard work on Sunday. Fantastic day to do that. I'm probably going to have to mow my yard on Sunday as well. It's been so wet lately. Grass grew so early this year too. I had to start mowing in like early March, and usually it's like mid to late March. I mean, the grass was already starting to get tall in late February. This has been such an early spring around here. Let's see. Brandon says, it makes me feel better, referring to what I was saying earlier about like, hey, this is not set in stone yet. So, don't get too, wrapped up in the severe weather chance next week just yet, but just keep paying attention and be, at least concerned, but not panicked about it. That's for certain. He says, makes me feel better that you're saying that, but the planes lighting off like a firecracker is rough on the mental. Yeah, it is. And that's out there. And that is seasonal, right? So that happens in April. That happens in May. It is severe weather season out there in the plains. Keep that in mind, okay? Let's see. We'll get to one or two more of these. So Ashley is asking, these waves of storms next week, they're not constant, right? We get a break between them. The models are going to paint all these storms all over the place, left, right, and center, storming all the time. And the reality of it is probably there's going to be some big old breaks. And we're talking like probably, if not 8 hours, 12 hours, maybe even a 24-hour break in that time if we're lucky. So this is not like a huge thing, all right, just yet. We're still trying to key in on that timing. Shonda says SPC hasn't said anything about the severe weather for Tuesday and Wednesday. At this point, and I'm going to check my phone here because I've been so wrapped up in Oaks today, but I think I did check all the severe weather outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center. They do have a day 4 and a day 5 outlook for this. The day 4 outlook is well over the plains. The day 5 outlook, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, at this time, does not cover, it looks like, it does cover just like literally Lawrence and Du Bois County at this point, but doesn't cover any of our core counties. So, and that, of course, is the day 5 outlook that I was referencing there. And that is Tuesday. So that would be the other day in question. So they're still thinking, hey, maybe just to the west on the maximum on that. And that makes sense, actually, given, sort of the outlook here. It's kind of similar to what the AI has. AI is a bit more widespread, but it does, come kind of just up to our western counties on that Storm Prediction Center, slight risk for Tuesday, but none in our real, core counties just yet here. Angela says, Southeast Texas having catastrophic flooding. Yeah, I mean, it's been really rough out there. I'll tell you what, from Iowa down to Texas to Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, they have all been involved, and it has been ugly. Okay, guys, it is time for dinner here, but guess what? You can watch us on Wave News at 11 tonight. We'll have the latest on the Derby forecast. I'll look over some of the 0Z data, which is kind of the latest data run that I'll have before the 11 o'clock news. Make any tweaks if I need to for next week's severe weather chance here. Again, this is not set in stone. I will leave you here with the 10-day earliest alert just to show you kind of what our bottom line is here. And you'll see the alert day for Wednesday. Highs after Thursday of next week go down to the 70s because of that front I mentioned, kind of sweeping out that unstable air. But it does give us some scattered to isolated showers popping up each afternoon, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. we'll keep an eye on that potential for you because outdoor plans for Mother's Day are always a big deal this time of year. Folks want to eat outside and, scattered showers in the forecast. We'll see how that goes. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'm Wave meteorologist Ryan Hoke here with you, and we really appreciate you watching our Oaks coverage today. Derby coverage is tomorrow. We start bright and early on sunrise here on Wave, and we'll get you the latest on the weather as we go throughout the weekend, too, for next week's storm chances. I'm Wave meteorologist Ryan Hoke. Good night, everybody.